New York City, the Plaza Hotel, 5th Avenue, November 1971. Monday evening, 7:30 p.m. The Oak Room is full. 200 people in evening wear, tuxedos, gowns, jewelry that catches the candlelight from crystal chandeliers. This is the New York Film Critics Circle annual dinner. The room where critics, filmmakers, and studio executives gather once a year to celebrate cinema and hand out awards that matter almost as much as the Oscars. The tables are covered in white linen, silver place settings, wine glasses that cost more than most people make in a week. Waiters in white gloves move silently between tables, pouring wine, delivering courses, invisible servants to visible wealth. This is old New York, old money, old power. The kind of room where careers are made and destroyed over dessert. At table 12, near the center of the room, sits Clint Eastwood. He wears a tuxedo because it's required. Black, simple. Bow tie that he tied himself. He looks uncomfortable, not because the clothes don't fit, they fit perfectly, but because this isn't his world. Clint is 41 years old. He's been famous for 7 years now. The Dollars trilogy made him an international star. Dirty Harry, released just 2 months ago, made him an American icon. He's on magazine covers. His name sells tickets. He's one of the biggest stars in Hollywood, but he doesn't act like it. He sits quietly at the table, eating the food, drinking water, not wine, listening to conversations around him without participating much. When people talk to him, he responds politely, briefly, then goes back to listening. His wife Maggie sits beside him, dark blue gown, hair done professionally. She looks more comfortable here than he does. She grew up around wealth, understands these rooms, knows how to navigate them. Clint doesn't, and he doesn't particularly want to learn. The other 6 people at the table are film critics, respected ones, the kind who write for major newspapers and magazines, the New York Times, the Village Voice, Newsweek. Their reviews can make or break a film. Their opinions carry weight. They've been drinking since cocktail hour. They're loose, talkative. The conversation ranges from European cinema to the decline of the Western to whether violence in films reflects or creates violence in society. Clint listens, occasionally nods, says almost nothing. One of the critics, a man in his 50s named Gerald, writes for a prestigious film journal, notices Clint's silence. Clint, you're awfully quiet tonight. Usually actors love these events, chance to be seen, to network. Clint looks at him. I'm listening. Yes, but you're not participating. Don't you have opinions on what we're discussing? I have opinions. Not sure they're interesting to anyone here. Gerald laughs, thinks Clint is being modest. Come now. You're Clint Eastwood, Dirty Harry, one of the biggest stars in the world. Everything you say is interesting. Clint doesn't respond to that, just cuts his steak, takes a bite. Another critic jumps in. A woman named Barbara who writes for a major magazine. She's had 3 glasses of wine. Her voice is louder than it should be. You know what I find fascinating about you, Clint? You don't act like a star. You act like a normal person who happens to be famous. It's almost off-putting. Maggie stiffens slightly, but Clint stays calm. Off-putting how? Well, stars are supposed to have presence, charisma. They're supposed to fill a room. But you, she gestures at him, you disappear, even now. You're the most famous person at this table, and I keep forgetting you're here. The table goes quiet. That was rude. Even drunk, that was crossing a line. But Clint doesn't react, doesn't look offended, just looks at her with mild curiosity. Is that a criticism? It's an observation. Take someone like Warren Beatty or Paul Newman. When they walk into a room, everyone knows it. They command attention. They perform stardom. But you... She shakes her head. You hide. Gerald tries to smooth it over. I think what Barbara means is that you have a different approach, more reserved. I know what she means. Clint sets down his fork, looks at Barbara. You think I should act like a star? Well, yes. Shouldn't you? You've earned it. You're successful. Why not enjoy it? Why not let people celebrate you? Clint is quiet for a moment. The table waits. Then he speaks. His voice is calm, measured. No anger, no defensiveness, just explanation. Because I'm not a star. I'm an actor. There's a difference. Barbara laughs. You're one of the biggest box office draws in the world. You're absolutely a star. That's not what I mean. Clint picks up his water glass, takes a sip, sets it down precisely. Stars are people who perform all the time, on screen, off screen, in restaurants, at parties. They're always on, always projecting, always making sure people know who they are. And that's fine. That works for them. But it's not who I am. He looks around the table, making eye contact with each person. I'm an actor. When the camera rolls, I do the job. I become the character. I give everything to that. But when the camera stops, I'm just me, just a guy. And that guy doesn't need to perform in a hotel dining room, doesn't need to command attention, doesn't need people to celebrate him. Barbara starts to interrupt, but Clint continues. You want to know why I'm quiet? Because I don't have anything to prove. I did my job, made the films. People watched them or they didn't. That's it. My work speaks for itself. I don't need to speak for my work. Gerald leans forward, interested now. But surely you understand that stardom is part of the job. The publicity, the appearances, the persona. That's what sells tickets. Maybe. But it's not what makes good films. Good films come from good work, from showing up prepared, from listening to the director, from understanding the character, from doing your job with craft and care. The rest, the publicity, the persona, the celebrity, that's just noise. He looks at Barbara. You said I hide. I'm not hiding. I'm just not performing when I don't need to. I'm not pretending to be larger than I am. I'm exactly as big as I am, no more, no less. The table is silent now. The critics aren't used to being challenged, especially not quietly, especially not with logic instead of emotion. Another critic, a younger man named David, speaks up. But don't you worry that if you don't play the game, the Hollywood game, you'll lose opportunities? That directors and producers will forget about you? Clint shakes his head. If they forget about me because I don't perform at parties, then they don't want me for the work. They want me for the image. And I'm not interested in being an image. I'm interested in being good at my job. But image matters in Hollywood. Image is everything. No, work is everything. Image fades, trends change. What's popular today is forgotten tomorrow. But good work lasts. Good performances last. Good films last. That's what I care about. That's what I focus on. He picks up his fork again, goes back to his meal. The conversation at the table shifts, becomes awkward. No one quite knows how to respond. Across the room, at another table, Warren Beatty holds court. He's surrounded by admirers, telling stories, laughing loudly, working the room even while sitting down. People keep coming over to say hello, to shake his hand, to be near his energy. Barbara notices Clint watching. See, that's what I mean. Warren understands how to be a star. Clint nods. Warren's good at it, better than I'd ever be. But that's him. That's not me, and I don't want to be him. Why not? Look how much people love him. People love the performance, the persona, but do they know him? The actual person? Or just the version he shows them? Clint shrugs. I'd rather people know less about me and see more of my work. I'd rather disappear into characters than have the character disappear into me. Maggie touches his arm gently, proud of him, understanding exactly what he means. Gerald tries one more time. Clint, with respect, you're leaving opportunities on the table. Magazine covers, talk shows, endorsements. You could be making twice what you make just by being more visible, more available. I make enough, but you could make more. Why? The question hangs in the air, simple, direct, unanswerable. Why make more money than enough? Why be more famous than necessary? Why perform when the work is already done? Gerald has no response. Clint stands, helps Maggie with her chair. If you'll excuse us, I think we're going to head out. It's only 8:45. The dinner isn't over. Awards haven't been announced yet. Speeches haven't been given. Leaving now is almost insulting. But Clint doesn't care about almost insulting. He came, he ate, he participated as much as he wanted to. Now he's done. Barbara can't help herself. You're leaving? The dinner isn't over. I know, but I am. Thank you for the conversation. He walks toward the exit. Maggie beside him. People notice. Whisper. The famous actor leaving early. How strange. How rude. At the door, a young journalist stops him. Notebook in hand. Eager. Mr. Eastwood, can I ask you a question? Clint stops. Polite. Sure. Why don't you act like a star? Why don't you work the room? Do interviews? Build your brand? Clint looks at him. Same answer he gave at the table. Same calm voice. Because I'm not selling a brand. I'm making films. And the films either work or they don't. My job is to make them work. Everything else is distraction. But don't you want people to like you? I want people to like my work, whether they like me personally. He shrugs. That's not something I can control, and I'm not going to perform a version of myself to try. The journalist writes frantically. Can I quote you on that? You can quote me on anything I say. I don't say things I don't mean. Clint and Maggie leave the plaza, walk out into the November cold. Fifth Avenue is busy even at this hour. Taxis, pedestrians, the city that never stops. They walk toward their hotel. A few blocks, no car service, no driver, just walking like normal people. Maggie takes his arm. You handled that well. They think I'm strange. They think you're different. There's a distinction. Maybe. They walk in comfortable silence for a moment. Then Maggie asks, do you ever wish you were more like Warren? More like the stars who enjoy the attention? Clint thinks about it. Really thinks. No, I like my life. I like being able to walk down a street without causing a scene. I like being able to eat dinner without performing. I like going home and being just a person, not a persona. Even if it costs you opportunities? Especially if it costs me opportunities. Because the opportunities I lose aren't ones I want anyway. If someone needs me to be a celebrity first and an actor second, they're hiring the wrong person. They reach their hotel, a small boutique place, not the plaza, not where stars usually stay, but quieter, more private. As they walk through the lobby, no one recognizes Clint, or if they do, they don't react. Don't ask for autographs, don't stare, exactly how he likes it. The next morning, a review of the dinner appears in Variety. One paragraph mentions Clint. Clint Eastwood attended but left early, continuing his peculiar habit of avoiding the spotlight even when the spotlight is specifically designed for him. One wonders if his refusal to engage with press and peers will eventually hurt his career. The article is read by producers, directors, studio executives across Hollywood. Some agree. Some think Clint is making a mistake, think he's arrogant, think he's wasting his moment. But the films keep coming, and they keep making money. 1973, High Plains Drifter. Clint directs and stars. Makes $15 million on a $5 million budget. 1976, The Outlaw Josie Wales. Clint directs and stars. Makes $31 million, becomes a classic. 1978, Every Which Way But Loose. Makes $104 million. One of the highest grossing films of the year. Year after year, film after film. Clint continues not acting like a star, continues avoiding talk shows, continues giving short interviews with no flash, no performance, just direct answers, and audiences love it. Because they don't see Clint Eastwood, the celebrity. They see the characters. They see Dirty Harry, the man with no name, the aging outlaw, the detective, the cowboy. They see the work, not the worker, which is exactly what Clint wants. 1992. Unforgiven wins Best Picture. Clint wins Best Director. At the Academy Awards, he gives a 30-second speech. Thanks the cast. Thanks the crew. Sits down. No grand statement. No emotional breakdown. No performance of humility. Just gratitude. Simple, direct, real. Backstage, a reporter asks, "You've won the biggest award in filmmaking. How does it feel?" Clint thinks. "It feels like the work was recognized. That's good. Just good? That's enough." The reporter is frustrated, wants more, wants emotion, wants the moment. But Clint doesn't give moments. He gives work. And when the work is done, he goes home. 2004. $1 Million Baby. Another Best Picture. Another Best Director. At 74 years old, Clint is asked by a younger actor for advice on handling fame. How do you deal with being recognized everywhere? How do you handle the pressure of being Clint Eastwood? Clint looks at him. "I don't handle being Clint Eastwood. I am Clint Eastwood. There's nothing to handle. I just live my life, do my work, go home. That's it." But people expect things from you. They want you to be the star. Then they're disappointed, because I'm not the star. I'm the actor. The star is whoever they imagine I am. That's not my responsibility. Doesn't that bother you? That people have expectations? No, their expectations are their problem. My job is to show up prepared, do good work, and go home. Everything else is noise. The young actor nods, trying to understand, but he doesn't. Not yet. He's still young, still wants the fame, still wants to be seen. In 20 years, maybe he'll understand. Maybe he'll realize that the performance of stardom is exhausting, that the real freedom is in refusing to perform at all. Or maybe he won't. Maybe he'll chase the spotlight his entire career and never understand why it never satisfies. 2024. Clint Eastwood is 94 years old. He still doesn't do talk shows, still doesn't do press junkets, still gives short, direct interviews when contractually required and nothing more. He still walks down streets without causing a scene, still eats in restaurants without being mobbed, still lives quietly in Carmel, California, where people know him and leave him alone. He's made over 50 films as an actor, directed over 40, won 4 Oscars, been nominated for 12. And he's done it all without ever acting like a star, without ever performing celebrity, without ever pretending to be larger than he is, just showing up, doing the work, going home. That's the lesson from November 1971 at the Plaza Hotel, when a drunk critic asked why he doesn't act like a star, and Clint Eastwood gave an answer that explained his entire career. "Because I'm not a star. I'm an actor. There's a difference. Stars perform all the time, on and off screen. They sell themselves. They build brands. They create personas. Actors work. They show up. They do the job. They let the work speak for itself." Clint chose to be an actor, not a star. And in choosing that, he built something more valuable than fame. He built respect. He built legacy. He built a body of work that speaks louder than any interview, any appearance, any performance of celebrity ever could. Because at the end of the day, the work is all that matters. The films last, the performances last, the characters last. But the persona, the celebrity, the image, that fades, that changes, that's forgotten. Clint understood that in 1971, at 41 years old, at the beginning of his fame, and he's lived by it for 53 years, never wavering, never performing, never pretending, just working, just living, just being exactly who he is. No more, no less. That's not hiding. That's not being difficult. That's not wasting opportunities. That's knowing yourself well enough to refuse to be anyone else, even when everyone expects you to be, especially when everyone expects you to be. The critics at Table 12 thought he was strange, thought he was missing the point, thought he didn't understand how Hollywood works. They were wrong. Clint understood exactly how Hollywood works. He just refused to play the game. And in refusing, he won something bigger than fame. He won freedom. He won authenticity. He won the right to be himself. That's worth more than any magazine cover, more than any talk show appearance, more than any performance of stardom. Because at the end of the day, everyone else is performing, and Clint Eastwood is just living. That's the real power, the real presence, the real stardom. Not in demanding attention, but in not needing it. Not in filling every room, but in being comfortable in the quiet. Not in performing greatness, but in doing great work and letting it speak. That's what Barbara didn't understand in 1971. That's what Gerald didn't understand. That's what most of Hollywood still doesn't understand. You don't become legendary by acting legendary. You become legendary by being so good at your work that the legend builds itself. And then you ignore the legend and keep working. That's Clint Eastwood. That's always been Clint Eastwood. Not the star, the actor, the worker, the man who shows up, does the job, and goes home. Without performance, without pretense, without apology, just work, just life, just truth. And 53 years later, that's still the most powerful thing in Hollywood. The courage to not perform when everyone's watching.